Hello, Internet. I'm me, and yeah, I'm still in my kitchen. This time, in a wife beater. Yes, I beat my wife. No, fine, I'm fine. Nah, but this is Kamen Rider fourze episode 8 review. Now, I had some complications with YouTube, and I think they're gonna cut me off at 8 minutes instead of 15 minutes. Don't know why. Maybe Toei's on my ass, but I'm gonna have to speed through this review and try to get everything I can into it as quickly as possible. And I'm gonna actually explain this right now. This episode is better than the rest. It really is. It actually raised the bar and showed that these writers and actually these producers, directors, blah blah blah, actually know what they're doing now, and they're actually learning from their past mistakes. I think I almost this episode actually gives me a feeling that they've been looking at all the reviews, they've been looking at all the people who have been complaining about how mundane and kind of mediocre the episodes are, even though they're setup episodes. And they looked at it and went, all right, we're gonna fix some of these problems, and I'm actually pretty happy for that. Um, the first problem they actually did fix for me is the whole the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and not that the belt saying 3, 2, 1 is a problem. No, no, I love that part. It actually kind of gets me revved up to see Kamen Rider Force every time. But they have the last time, last couple of times, you actually had this animated 3, 2, 1 come up, and it was just kind of like, dude, that's kind of silly. I know a talking belt that transforms you, completely plausible, but but for the big 3, 2, 1 to just like appear on the screen was just kind of like, okay, whatever, and so they got rid of that. Another thing they've gotten, they did that surprised the fuck out of me, was they gave the American football player now this isn't the American football captain's episode. This is all his centered episode, and of course it was his episode last episode, but this episode focuses a lot more on him. And honestly, you don't need the other episode. You can just sit here and watch this episode. Watch the, if you have to, skip 7, go come straight to 8. Watch the last time on Kamen Rider Force, and you're done. You've caught up. It's like he doesn't like Kisarigi. Really? I had no idea. But yeah, this is his backstory, and this is watching him join the Kamen Rider Club. And out of all of them, this guy gets most billing for character development, and I mean it. He actually has more of a conflict to deal with instead of like everybody else. Everybody else had this like little, I'm kind of a douchebag. I learned my lesson and now I'm with the team. This guy actually has to stand up to his father, has to stand up to what his father has pressured him into, and it shows his backstory on him. You can see why this guy was a bully in the first place. You can see why he does the things he does, and this really, really shows more of the depth of this character, and I love that. It doesn't, he's not a bully to be a bully, he's not an asshole to be an asshole. He's actually a 3D character. He's this person. It was just a very good surprise, and I'm so happy that this was in the episode. Now for the bad stuff. The bad stuff is 50-50 of this episode, actually. No, I'm going to take that back. About 70-30. 30 being the worst, 70 being most of the best. And the only reason it's like that is because actually the worst stuff comes right after the best stuff of this episode. Like, the American football captain gives this huge, soulful, pouring out his soul, crying on the floor speech of who he is and pouring out his soul in front of Kisarigi and everyone else. And at the end of this speech, Kisarigi starts to cry too. But I think this is mostly because of the actor, not the writing. The Kisarigi's laugh, I'm sorry, cry, sounds like a laugh. And for that 1 second, for that like 5 seconds when he cries, I'm ready to punch him in the goddamn face because I'm like, why are you laughing? Why? And that's pretty much the extent of how these small parts ruin the rest of the bigger parts. But and that's the biggest example of this in this episode. And another thing is that all the major events are so major that the minor events that happen to set up these major events are almost completely forgettable, and you don't care. You almost don't even care how some characters got there. You just kind of like, they got there. I like it like that. I don't care. And honestly, this episode is a perfect, as good, like at minimum, a solid 8 out of 10. If it weren't for those minor things like the fight scene with the Zodiac, the Hound, and the Scorpio Zodiac, the first battle, not the second. The first battle, Kisaragi is actually holding his own against both of them fairly well, and then gets his ass kicked. When I actually kind of thought, if you're gonna introduce the Scorpion Zodiac, you would actually have him just get his ass completely whooped, because this is the Zodiac who's giving all the others the Zodiacs. So I thought, wow, this should have been like just a complete ass whooping, but it makes up for it in the second battle where the American football player who has the power and the stamina to power the power dizer, sorry, just the power dizer, and I think he's going to be the main pilot of it because his body can take it a lot more than anyone else's. So I think we're going to see the American football player, who I am going to learn his name at some point. I think it's just Shu Daimanjiro or something. I don't care. He's going to be the main power dizer pilot because he's the one who can take the most out of it, and he's actually very good at piloting the thing for just hopping in it. Another little plot point like that, just like a plot hole. I'm like, how did he learn to? Fuck it. But all in all, this episode is a great episode. This is a must-see episode for Kamen Rider fourze. Almost, you can almost pretty much say, you can all like compared to the other character developing episodes, this one was the deepest. This one was the best rooted, and I really felt for the character, even though he was presented at first as like a major jerk, and you wanted to see him get punched in the face. And this time you got to sympathize. You get to sympathize with him, especially near at the end where he. I don't know if I should spoil this, but he destroys his district champion football trophy. I mean, he goes up with the power dizer and just breaks it. And I'm just like, that's character development. He fights his father. He destroys it and joins the Kamen Rider Club. And I'm just like, this is how these episodes should go. This is really how these episodes should go. And I don't care if it gets really formulaic, but I really hope that the Kamen Rider fourze writers keep this going. Keep the stories going this deep in the characters, so that each character we feel, even if it's only for one episode, we really get to feel why they are the way they are and who they are. Other than that, there's not much else to the episodes. The action scenes are okay. Again, the first action scene was eh. The second action scene was actually pretty good. Makes up for this first action scene, and of course, some of the acting was off, and most of it's forgettable because, well, they're minor parts of this. Most of the acting is done in the minor parts of this episode, except for the flashbacks and character development for the American football player. Especially Kasarigi in this episode was acting really weird. The suit actors, of course, were perfectly spot on. Kisarigi at moments, like especially at the end of the speech, was just iffy and questioning. Like, is he supposed to be crying? Is he laughing at him? What the fuck is wrong with you? So I just think that's the actor not having a little misdirection on his part. I don't know, but other than that, um, this episode is a pretty good episode. Go check it out. It's higher above the others. So pretty much that's all I gotta say. So until next time, y'all, when we get to see the flame form in Kamen Rider Fourze episode 9. Peace. Yes, and the camera's shaking.